If your legs feel cold, even on warm days, if every short walk ends with leg pain when walking, or if numbness and tingling shows up out of nowhere, you are not imagining things. These are not random signs of aging. They are signals that your blood circulation is no longer reaching your lower body the way it used to. Poor leg circulation slowly steals comfort, confidence, and the simple pleasure of moving freely without fear. Many seniors accept cold feet and legs as normal, but deep down they know something is off. When blood flow to the legs weakens, the body whispers before it ever screams. That whisper often starts with heaviness, stiffness, and a strange pulsing feeling after standing up. And most people are never told what these early warnings truly mean. Here's the part no one explains at the doctor's office. Vitamins for seniors are usually chosen at random without understanding how vascular health actually declines over time. People focus on joints, muscles, or nerves, while the real issue is the invisible system that feeds them. When that internal flow slows down, every step feels harder than it should. You try stretching, walking more, drinking more water, yet the cold feet and legs keep coming back. It feels like your body is ignoring your efforts, and that silent frustration grows week after week. What if the real problem is not what you are doing, but what your body is no longer able to activate on its own? What if poor leg circulation is not a life sentence, but a broken internal response that can be reawakened? There's a simple biological reason blood circulation weakens after 60 that almost nobody talks about. And once you understand this hidden switch, the numbness and tingling starts to make sense, because the body is not broken, it's just running an outdated program. In a moment, I'll show you what that outdated program is and why it blocks blood flow to the legs. But first, you need to see the mistake almost everyone is making without realizing it. If you have already tried different vitamins for seniors, herbal teas, light exercises, and little daily routines, yet your legs still feel weak and heavy, you are not alone in this. Millions of people over 60 wake up every morning hoping today will feel different, only to notice the same poor leg circulation again. You start the day with stiffness, wondering if a short walk will trigger leg pain when walking before you even reach the door. The frustration is not just physical, it's emotional, because it feels like your body stopped listening to you. You follow advice, you make small changes, and still the cold feet and legs come back by the afternoon. It feels unfair, like you're doing your part and the results never show up. That quiet disappointment slowly becomes part of your routine. Some days, the numbness and tingling are subtle, almost easy to ignore. Other days, they flare up so strongly that you question if something deeper is going on inside your body. You might sit there massaging your calves, trying to wake them up, but the relief never lasts long. Friends tell you it's just age, but that answer doesn't satisfy you. Because deep down, you remember a time when your legs felt alive and responsive. You remember walking without thinking about every step. And you want that feeling back, even if no one has explained how. The hardest part is that every solution seems isolated. One person says it's your nerves, another blames your joints, and another points at your heart. So you bounce from one tip to another, hoping one of them finally improves your blood flow to the legs. But nothing addresses the full picture of vascular health. Each approach treats a tiny piece while ignoring the system that connects everything. That's why it feels like you're chasing relief instead of creating it. And this scattered approach is exactly what keeps you stuck. You might even feel embarrassed talking about it. It's not easy to admit that walking across a parking lot feels harder than it should. So you smile, you push through, and you hide the discomfort from others. But inside, you're quietly searching for something that actually makes sense, something that explains why your blood circulation no longer works the way it once did. Something that connects the dots between cold feet and legs and that heavy feeling in your calves. And that search is about to lead you to a surprising realization. Because what you have been doing is not wrong, it's just incomplete. You were never shown how all these pieces work together inside your body. You were given tips, not a framework.
And without a clear internal map, every effort feels like guesswork. That's why the relief never lasts. In the next part, I will reveal the single mistake that makes all these well-intended efforts fail. For a long time, I truly believed that getting older automatically meant losing mobility. Every stiff morning and every slow step felt like proof that time was winning. I watched people around me accept cold feet and legs as a normal part of life. Even the constant numbness and tingling started to feel inevitable. I told myself it was just how the body works after 60, but something about that explanation never fully convinced me. It felt too simple for such a complex problem. The turning point came when I noticed how inconsistent my symptoms were. Some days my legs felt lighter, with better blood circulation, almost like they remembered how to function. Other days, the same short walk triggered leg pain when walking, and that dull heaviness began. If age was the only reason, why would it change from one day to the next? That question stayed with me and pushed me to look deeper into vascular health. I wanted to understand what really controls blood flow to the legs, and the answer surprised me more than I expected. What I found was not about muscles or joints at all. It was about a silent internal response that weakens over time, creating poor leg circulation without warning. This response is rarely mentioned in conversations about vitamins for seniors, yet it plays a massive role in whether your legs feel warm and responsive or cold and heavy. When this response slows down, everything downstream suffers. And that's when I realized the problem wasn't age itself. It was a specific internal process that almost no one ever explains. Once that idea clicked, the pattern suddenly became clear. The days I felt better weren't accidents. They were moments when this hidden system briefly worked the way it was supposed to. The days filled with numbness and tingling were when it stayed switched off. This was not random at all. There was a logic behind every sensation I had been feeling, and I knew that if I could understand that logic, I could change the outcome. That realization opened a completely new way of looking at blood circulation. It was no longer about doing more exercises or adding random habits. It was about restoring a process that had gone dormant inside the body, a process that directly controls how much blood flow reaches your legs. And once you see this, you can't unsee, because it explains why so many well-intended efforts never last. And in the next part, I will reveal the single mistake that keeps this process turned off. Everything began when I learned about a specific natural activator that helps wake up blood circulation inside the body. It wasn't something dramatic or extreme, just a subtle shift in how the internal system responds. This activator works quietly, influencing how blood flow to the legs is regulated. When it's missing or underperforming, the body struggles to deliver warmth and energy downward. That's when poor leg circulation starts to feel like a permanent state. But this is only the surface of the story, because the real breakthrough is understanding why this activator even matters in the first place.
Most people think circulation is controlled only by the heart. They assume that if the heart is pumping, blood must be flowing everywhere equally. But that is not how the body actually behaves over time. There is an internal communication system that decides where the blood goes and how efficiently it moves. When that system weakens, areas like the legs are the first to be affected. This is why cold feet and legs are often the earliest warning sign, and yet almost nobody connects these dots. Here's the part that completely reframed how I saw my own symptoms. It is not enough to push the body harder with movement or random vitamins for seniors. If the internal signal that opens the pathway is muted, effort alone cannot fix it. The system stays closed no matter how much you try from the outside. That is why numbness and tingling can persist even when you feel like you are doing everything right. It's like trying to send water through a hose with a closed valve. The pressure builds, but the flow never reaches the end. Once I understood this, I stopped looking for quick fixes. I realized the real opportunity was to restore that internal signal itself, not by force, but by giving the body what it needs to recognize and respond again. This is where the idea of an integrated approach to vascular health began to form, an approach that does not fight the body, but cooperates with it.
And that cooperation is what changes how blood circulation behaves day after day. In the next part, I'll explain the exact mistake that prevents most people from ever activating this system. Your vascular system works a lot like an old plumbing system in a house. When it's new, water moves freely and reaches every room with no effort. But over time, the pipes stiffen and narrow, even if nothing feels obviously broken. This is when blood circulation begins to weaken in the background. The legs, being the farthest point from the core, are the first to be noticed. That is why poor leg circulation often shows up as cold feet and legs, and it almost always starts silently. This is not something you caused. You did not choose for this system to change with age. The body naturally loses some of its flexibility and internal responsiveness over the years. That loss is what slows blood flow to the legs. It explains why numbness and tingling can appear without any clear trigger. You can live a careful lifestyle and still experience these signs, because this process is not about willpower. Most advice focuses on the outside of the system. Stretch more, walk more, sit less. All of that sounds logical, but it never addresses what is happening inside the pipes. When the inner walls lose their adaptability, movement alone cannot fully reopen them. That is why leg pain when walking can persist even in active people. The problem is not the effort, it's the internal condition of the system itself. Researchers have observed that certain natural compounds can support how this internal system behaves. They do not force the body, but encourage a healthier response pattern. This is not about instant change, but about restoring the body's ability to react properly. When that response improves, blood flow to the legs becomes easier to maintain, and that is when people start noticing warmer feet and less heaviness. These patterns show up repeatedly in real-world experiences. They are not coincidences. What matters is understanding that vascular health is not a single switch. It's a network of signals, responses, and internal conditions working together. If even one part of that network is ignored, the whole system feels off. That is why treating numbness, pain, or coldness separately never lasts. They are symptoms of the same underlying slowdown. And once you see that, the scattered advice you have heard suddenly makes sense. In the next part, I'll explain the exact internal error that keeps this system from working as a whole. Ignoring these early signals is what quietly turns small discomfort into daily limitation. At first, it's just cold feet and legs in the morning, easy to brush off. Then numbness and tingling begin to appear more often than they should. Soon, even short walks trigger leg pain when walking. What once felt small slowly reshapes how you live each day. You start planning your movements around how far your legs will take you, and that silent fear becomes part of your routine. The most dangerous part is how gradual this process is. Blood circulation does not stop suddenly. It fades little by little, almost unnoticed. Each week, blood flow to the legs becomes slightly weaker. The body adapts, and you adapt with it. By the time poor leg circulation feels obvious, the pattern is deeply set, and reversing it feels overwhelming. People often blame their muscles for what is happening. They think their legs are just getting weaker with age, so they push harder or simply endure the discomfort. But the real limitation is not strength, it's the internal supply system that supports movement. Without strong vascular health, effort alone never works. The foundation is missing. Over time, frustration quietly turns into resignation. You stop expecting improvement. Cold feet and legs become something you live with. Each episode of numbness and tingling is ignored instead of questioned. That mindset is what locks the cycle in place, because the system never gets the support it needs. It just keeps slowing down. But this is not a random decline. Your body is following a specific internal pattern, a pattern that has been overlooked for years. Once you finally see how it works, everything starts to make sense. You realize your legs have been sending signals all along, and that realization is the doorway to the next part of this story. This is where everything finally started to make sense for me. Instead of chasing isolated tips, I began following a structured internal protocol. It's designed to support blood circulation as a coordinated system, not a random fix. The idea is to work with how the body naturally manages blood flow to the legs. This approach respects the changes that happen after 60, because vascular health at this stage requires strategy, not guesswork. And that cooperation is what changes how blood circulation behaves day after day. The first phase of this protocol focuses on preparation. It helps the body release internal resistance that builds up over time. This is what allows blood flow to the legs to move more freely. Without this step, poor leg circulation tends to remain a daily issue. It's not about speed, it's about readiness. Once the body is receptive, poor leg circulation stops feeling permanent. It starts to feel adjustable. The second phase is activation. This is where the internal response that guides circulation is gently reawakened. People often describe subtle but meaningful changes here. Less heaviness, fewer episodes of numbness and tingling. Sometimes it's simply a warmer sensation in the lower legs. These are signs that the internal signal is turning back on. That is when the system begins to feel alive again. The third phase is all about sustaining that response. Restoring vascular health is not a one-time moment. The body needs consistent support to maintain blood circulation. This phase helps prevent the return of leg pain when walking. It keeps the blood flow to the legs steady instead of letting it fade. Without this phase, results can feel temporary. With it, the change becomes part of your routine. What makes this protocol different is how simple it feels to follow. You are not forcing your body anymore. You are guiding it through preparation, activation, and support. Each phase builds naturally on the one before it. That is why it resonates with people who tried everything else. And in the next part, I will show you the real-life patterns people begin to notice once they live inside this system.
People who follow this protocol often start describing the same types of changes. They talk about feeling more warmth in their legs instead of constant cold feet and legs. Some mention that the numbness and tingling no longer show up as often. Others notice that short walks feel less intimidating than they used to. These are not dramatic claims, just everyday observations. But when you hear them repeated again and again, a pattern becomes hard to ignore. It feels like a shared experience. What stands out is how similar these stories are across different people. Many are over 60 and had already tried vitamins for seniors or small lifestyle tweaks. Yet they describe a shift in how their blood circulation feels throughout the day. Not perfection, just progress. They often say their legs feel more present, more responsive. That sense of connection to their body had been missing for years, and now it feels like it is slowly returning. Another common theme is confidence. People explain that they no longer think twice before standing up. They do not hesitate as much before walking across a room. Even leg pain when walking seems to lose its grip on their decisions. That mental change matters as much as the physical one, because when fear fades, movement becomes natural again, and that shift changes daily life. There are also comments about consistency. Instead of good days followed by bad days, things feel more balanced. Blood flow to the legs doesn't seem as unpredictable anymore. That stability is something many thought they had lost forever. It's not about being perfect, it's about feeling reliable again. And that reliability builds trust in the system, trust that grows with time. What makes these experiences powerful is that they come from people just like you. Not athletes, not experts, just individuals who were tired of guessing. They were looking for a way to support their vascular health in a logical way, a way that respected their age instead of fighting it. And once they saw that this protocol made sense, they stayed with it. In the next part, I'll explain how you can begin experiencing this system for yourself. If your goal is to support blood flow to the legs in a structured and intelligent way, this is where the next step begins. This is not about chasing another isolated tip. It's about experiencing the complete protocol as it was designed to work. A system built to support blood circulation, not just one symptom at a time. Because real change only happens when the full process is followed. And that option is now available to you, without confusion or complexity. Everything related to this protocol is explained clearly in one place, so you're not left guessing what to do next. You can see how the phases work together to support vascular health, how preparation,
activation, and consistency form a complete loop. This approach is meant for people who want logic, not hype, especially those over 60 who value clarity and simplicity, and that clarity makes all the difference. To make it easy, access to the full protocol is shared directly below this video. You don't need to search or jump between pages. The link to begin is in the first pinned comment. That's where everything is laid out step by step, so you can decide calmly if this system makes sense for you. No pressure, just information and structure, exactly how it should be. It's important to understand who this is for. This protocol is designed for people who are ready to follow a complete system, not for those looking for instant fixes or shortcuts. If you want to support your body in a way that respects how it works now, this fits. If you're tired of fragmented advice, this brings it together. And that distinction matters more than most people realize, because commitment to the system is what creates consistency. In a moment, I'll show you how to take that next step calmly and clearly, what to do right after this video ends, and how to move forward without overthinking it. Because once you understand the logic behind this protocol, the decision becomes simple. You're no longer guessing, you're choosing a system. And that's what we'll close with next. Click the link in the first pinned comment now and take a calm look at the full protocol laid out there. It's designed to help you understand how to support blood circulation in a structured way, not through pressure or hype, but through clarity and logic. This is your opportunity to stop guessing and start following a real system. A system built around how the body actually manages blood flow to the legs, especially after 60, when scattered advice no longer works. That's why this moment matters. After you explore it, come back to this video and share what you discovered. Your comment helps reinforce your own awareness of what's happening in your body. It also lets others know they are not alone in dealing with cold feet and legs. That sense of connection is powerful, because when people talk openly about numbness and tingling, it breaks the silence. It turns confusion into understanding, and understanding creates movement. If this video helped you see blood circulation differently, take 1 second to like it. That simple action supports the channel and helps more people find this message. It tells the platform that this topic matters, and it helps spread practical information about vascular health, information that many seniors are still missing. Your small click can create a big ripple, especially for those who feel stuck. Make sure you follow the channel so you don't miss the next steps. Every new video is built to help you understand your body more clearly. We talk about poor leg circulation, blood flow to the legs, and what really changes after 60. Not from fear, but from logic. Not from hype, but from patterns people can recognize. That way, each video builds on the one before it, just like the protocol itself. Right now, your only job is to decide to stay engaged. Click the pinned comment, leave your thoughts, tap like, and follow the channel. These small actions keep you connected to this process. They remind you that you're no longer navigating this alone. You're choosing to learn how your body really works, and that choice is the first step toward change.